So let's just talk about why to prosecute Trump. Because he's a bully, pure and simple. And he's got no game. Bullies never have game. He went to LA and he's claiming he did something in LA. He did not do something in LA. Because he's a bully. When he was stood up to, he lost. And he didn't do anything in the first place. He lost in the courts, and he didn't really. There was nothing. There was no crisis to rise up to. So he just wasted federal resources. D.C. throwing his weight around. He loves to. It's his backyard. So of course he wants to throw his weight around. He put in the National Guard, and hey, if he wants to help gather guns, that's great. I think there should be some neighborhoods where the National Guard is available all the time. Benning Terrace, Ivy City, yeah, they're not safe. And any enhanced presence we can have, just send us some money. If he wants to fund D.C. streets more, yeah, the streets around the Capitol building and around the White House are crappy because there's a steam pipe situation there from the congressional heat plant that ruined the streets. The rest of the streets are, like everybody else's, but the ones around the Capitol are particularly ruinous, and the administrator or the director of the National Capital Service Area, which is a federal thing and it exists. I thought it wasn't appointed. It has been. If the person who's in charge of the National Capital Service Area wants to give the Congress a bill every year for the streets and for anything we give to the National Capital Service Area, they should do that. And it should be an automatic payment. It shouldn't even be an appropriation. It should be a federal obligation that is put in every year without much debate. It should be and it should be, that federal official or that appointed official sending them a bill. And there should be street work on Constitution Avenue every year, every summer, because it buckles every summer because of the darn heat plant. If we can get rid of that congressional heat plant that's part of D.C. central streets, we'll be fine. But Congress wants to do steam heat. So tear the thing down and put solar on. The solar is good enough now. You could put solar panels on the congressional office buildings. It would probably, and windmills, and it would probably, especially windmills, and would probably take care of most of the requirements for the congressional typewriters, especially since now word processing material is cheaper. So yeah, but yeah, for all means, extra protection for Ivy City, extra protection for, near the waterfront sometimes, anytime there's public housing, or help out give the federal housing police an area around the housing to deploy, and beef them up. Because there are kids who are running wild, live in public housing. They need to make the area safe. That is fine. It is a problem. Solve the problem. You don't need the National Guard. You just need adequate resources. And, Trump is all talk, no action, all show, no go, or else he would have done that on a system-wide basis. Definitely if you've got a problem around public housing, and you do, because fathers are being put in jail by the justice system because they're black largely. Yeah. And make sure people with families can get public housing with fathers in the house. That should be a thing. Two-parent households should be able to get any kind of public housing necessary from Section 8 to, and full welfare, and it should be, even two-earner households should get aid if they need it. And shouldn't be, it should have the limits to the income that a two income household can use if they're underhoused. So yes, let us add either direct spending or the other without letting Trump be a bully, because he's using he's using any excuse to be a bully. He wants to bully Chicago because it's got black people. That's simple as that. Obama's from Chicago. He wants to bully Chicago. No matter what Pritzker wants. I mean, I'm sure Pritzker's going to probably just stop him, because Pritzker's not a bully. He's just powerful. Personally powerful man, but he's quiet. But he will take the bait and beat Trump over the head with it. So, but yeah, this is why bully should not be the first, should be the president. Picking on the Kennedy Center, low class, thuggery, you know. Yeah. And Trump shouldn't have to feel like be a bully because he's, for a 79-year-old, almost 80, he's in good physical shape. I'm not as good a shape, and I'm 63 this year. I mean, I won't play tennis with Trump. He'll beat the hell out of me. Won't play golf with him either. Even if he wasn't cheating, he would beat the hell out of me. Even in a golf cart, I'm in no shape to do that. My BMI is like 10 points above his. So I don't decry his physical prowess at all, as far as playing golf and tennis. Whatever problems, I have arthritis and I'm fat. And I try not to be a bully because I'm big. I could successfully be a really good bully, but I am, just because you're big and strong, if you're really big and strong, you don't have to be a bully. So I do outweigh the guy, but yeah, he can run faster than I can, and I'm not threatening the president. I'm just saying that he shouldn't even have to worry about being a bully. Because physically he's stronger than probably any others. 99% of 79-year-olds in the country, he is stronger and fitter than. Maybe not RFK Jr. because RFK is like a really strong old guy, but challenge him. And because he's got that impulse. His niece can psychoanalyze why. We all know the story of how bad that old man was. But I'm glad Pritzker's going to stand up to him. Glad the courts are. But I think the D.C. Attorney General not only should stand up to him in court, although let us take the money in the National Guard troops. We need them. We need the National Guard at Benning Terrace. We need it at Ivy City. Leave them there, please. Because it is a situation that is unconscionable the way, the gangs can rule the roost. They shouldn't be able to do that. The rest of the city is very fine and secure. But, people heckling Republicans in restaurants is free speech. They deserve it, and we'll do it, and we'll keep doing it because they deserve it, because they're being bullies. And bullies should be called out. So when Jeanine Pirro tries to eat out, she should be shouted down. RFK, same thing. The whole comedy of errors in his cabinet should not be able to eat out in Washington, D.C. or the metropolitan area because they're fools, and fools should be called out in public, especially when they're being oppressive fools. So yeah, the First Amendment protects that. The National Guard can't stop that. And it's safe for them to be there, but they're going to take some flack. That's just the way it is, because when you're an idiot and you go into public, people will call you an idiot in public. So, they're not going to be safe in D.C. to go out to eat, no matter what the National Guard does. And if the National Guard goes into restaurants to protect them, we will throw food at the National Guard. We can do that now. No grand jury will stop us from a food fight. With my apologies to anybody who's called out to have to deal with a food fight. But yeah, quit going after the immigrants, Donald, because as I said in my last post, the DC AG can get you. He just has to have the willingness. And I've said what he can do if he has the willingness, and I have told him what he can do if he has the willingness, and we will see if my name has any cachet around City Hall like it used to. So, because I have gotten cases put up when I was in the mayor's office. Congressman Raskin, before he was a congressman, had a paper on D.C. representation. He sent it to me, or he sent it to the mayor. And I walked it right down to the AG's office or the Upper Council's office, and they got the case going. So yeah, they still haven't forgotten about me yet. So Donald, you should be wary. There may be a prosecution in your future. That's me being a bully about it. So yeah, if Trump wants to be a bully, we're going to treat him like one. And that doesn't make him look good. Donald, it's not a good look. I will work with you on doing good things for this country and the city. But you gotta have real self-esteem, not throw your weight around. So, and if you don't, you got to go. By every legal means necessary, they need to get you out of office. JD, are you listening? Have a good day.